Well, good morning and welcome again to the Yorkshire Business Journal. Today we are interviewing Ferris Ockwell, owner of Ferris Ockwell Consulting. Good morning, Fran.
Morning. Hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you. I was just been on your website and I found an interesting catchphrase which I would like you to potentially expand. Now, Ferris Ockwell Consulting supports organizations to achieve their potential. Can you please expand on that, please?
Sure, yeah. So my background is in the charity and sort of social enterprise sector, and I found during my career that there are an awful lot of organisations that have a huge amount of potential that's just not being fulfilled. So they may have individual members of staff or senior management who have some great ideas, but they don't have the confidence or the resources or the capacity to grow those ideas into something exciting. So something that's key to me is that the fundamental idea is about business being about more than profit. So I work across all sectors, whether that's for-profit or not-for-profit, charities, social enterprises, private businesses. But every business that I work with has this idea of the triple bottom line. So profit, environmental impact, and social impact. And I think that there's a lot that the charity sector can learn from the for-profit sector in terms of how they can develop their income generation, how they can develop their sustainability, how they can, really become kind of more sustainable by using methods around generating profits that the private sector have been doing for years. And then conversely, I think that the private sector, who are increasingly moving towards this idea of also having a social and environmental conscience and impact, can learn a lot from what's going on in charities and social enterprises in terms of how they achieve that impact, how they evidence it, and how they communicate it to their supporters. And so when I talk about achieving their potential, it's kind of, encompassing all of those different elements and trying to bring together organisations with an ethical purpose, so organisations with a conscience, for-purpose organisations to grow into the best version of themselves that they can be strategically.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Well, let's go back to what you just mentioned about organizations. Now, one of your major aspects is actually assisting companies with their strategy and strategy plans. Can you take us through a successful case study, please?
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, I suppose I'm working with quite a few different organisations who all have similar objectives. So they are primarily charities and social enterprises right now, and they are all sort of responding to COVID and the challenges that we've had in terms of moving towards online delivery and away from being able to, to deliver their services in person. And many of them are using that as an opportunity to diversify their income, to move towards a trading model, to generate a revenue stream from various different kind of online sources, whether that be an online kind of exercise group or a membership organization, those kinds of revenue generating opportunities that the internet brings and that have been thrust forward because of COVID. And so I suppose all of the organizations that I'm working with at the moment are kind of are using that mechanism to become more sustainable and to give themselves the best chance of success in the future. But it's almost kind of thrusting forward a new era of innovation that would have probably taken maybe 10 or 20 years to come through otherwise. And so those, that work is based largely on my own professional experience from the past, where I've personally led organizations through that process of diversifying through generating trading revenue and income through subsidiary companies or through other mechanisms that enable them to further their charitable objectives and further their social and environmental goals without necessarily being so reliant on grant funding or other kind of fundraised income.
Another aspect on your business is strategic planning and fundraising. Can you please tell us why and how we should look to the future, please?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, my background is primarily in the non-profit sector and also some work in social enterprise. And my experience, I guess, has been that there has historically been a dependency on certain types of fundraised income that aren't necessarily sustainable. So whether that's donations, whether that's trust funding or grant funding, or even going through procurement exercises, which are for kind of fixed term pieces of work, which don't necessarily offer sustainability into the future. And so I think that there's an awful lot that the non-profit sector and that the social enterprise sector should be learning from our private sector colleagues in terms of looking to the future and embracing that sort of long-term strategic vision. So 10, 20 years into the future, where are we trying to be? What are we trying to achieve? Why do we exist? And why are we trying to do what we're trying to do? Why are we here? You know, which is as an organization is something that we really should be asking ourselves all the time. You know, are we still accomplishing our goals, and are all our decisions informed by our strategic vision? And so building that idea of sustainability in terms of generating diverse revenue streams into the charity model and the social enterprise model is really key in terms of strategy. And it's something that I'm particularly interested in supporting organizations to do. So that, yeah, I guess it's a bit like your own savings portfolio, your own investment portfolio. You want to diversify to make yourself as immune to potential risks as you possibly can. And it's the same across charities and private businesses. Diversifying your income, trying to make sure that you're as resilient and as sustainable as possible, and that you're looking at what's going to be coming 5 or 10 years down the road and preparing for that in advance as much as you possibly can.
Okay, yes, that's very, very true. I've met numerous people from companies that if they tend to grow too fast and international as well, they sometimes tend to lose out their initial focus. Okay, thank you very much, Fran. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. And if you have more questions, please contact Fran directly.
That's great. Thanks, Andrea. Thank you.